If you are watching right now, this is the replay. We are no longer live, but welcome. Today I'm going to be making a zip around wallet and a wristlet. It's a custom order for Michelle. I'm just going to wait for her to jump on the live and then we'll get started. Hello everybody. Good evening. I know it's kind of late. I don't normally start this late. Hey Janice. Hey Deanie. I'm so glad you made it. Deanie, I am looking for Michelle, M-I-C-H-E-L. If you see her, do you mind pinning her comment for me, please? Hi Terry. Hey Judy. Hey Nancy Bear. Happy Monday. Thanks, Deanie. Today I'm going to be making a wristlet. Hey Anna, which is this right here. And then she also ordered a zip around wallet, which is this right here. Everything's prepped, ready to go. How was everybody's weekend? I feel like it went by way too fast. Hi Judy. I'm gonna give her another minute and then we'll get started. There's some stuff that I can prep while she is joining. I normally have a lot of wristlet strap attachments made because they're so small and they come together so quickly. I usually make a whole bunch at once, but I'm out of my black, so I need to make some of those. Hey Debbie. It was a long weekend. Storm day today. Very nice. Hey Judy. Let me go ahead and get this prepped. I can go ahead and at least make the wristlet strap attachment. Hi Lena. We got some snow yesterday, which I was very excited to see. And then today, I don't even think it got above 25 degrees, so it's still sticking around. Hey, Cassie. All right, so this is going to be the wristlet strap. I'm just going to sew along each edge and then add the hardware. Just like that. 46 here with wind chill. Yikes. Beth, are you still in Hawaii? No, I'm in Northern Virginia now. We moved out here end of June, beginning of July. I missed the 80-degree days for sure. I remember last year, the day after Christmas, we were at the beach because it was so warm. I mean, it's warm every day. This might get me 3. My husband's home. I'm just gonna add my little D-ring and then sew it closed. Just sew it shut. And then that way I'll have these on hand the next time I need one for my wristlet. It was so cold this weekend. I'm not too far away from Maryland, outside of DC. I know. It was cold today too. I normally take my dogs on a walk, and today I was just like, it's way too cold to go outside. The last time I took them out, my hands were like so frozen, it hurt to take their harnesses off of them. Which reminds me, I need to make myself some gloves. I had it on my to-do this weekend, but I never got a chance to do it. Hey, Michelle, there you are. I was just prepping the wristlet attachment. I'm in Hampton Roads, so I know, so cold. You guys got snow last weekend, right? Okay, let's get started. Michelle, I don't know if you caught the beginning. So this is a custom order for Michelle. We're going to be doing a wristlet. So we are going to have, this is the main print, and then this is the bottom of the wristlet, and then here is going to be the interior, which is so Christmassy. Hi, Oregon. And then she has a zip around wallet in the same print, so I went ahead and prepped all of that. That's going to be the main print. I also made you a little key fob because of your patience. We were supposed to do this live on Friday, and then my dog got sick and I had to take her to the emergency vet. So Michelle was very gracious to let me put it off until today. All right, let's go ahead and prep the zipper. Is that vinyl or cotton? So the outside is vinyl, the top print as well as the bottom, and then the inside lining is cotton, and then I line it with SF101 interfacing. I know. So Cookie has had this little like growth on her face for a little while, and she's scheduled for surgery at the end of January, but it actually busted open, and so my vet was like, don't wait, just take her to an emergency vet, which I'm glad I did. They gave her some antibiotics and some pain meds, so she's fine now. Hi, Vivian. Okay, let me go ahead and stitch open the top of my zipper. And then last week, I don't know if you guys caught my last TikTok that I posted, but I took Butters, well, I took my dogs for a walk. Butters somehow got a snake wrapped up in her harness. I thought I was gonna die. Hey, Lisa. So last week was just a really bad week for me and my dogs. All right, so I just marked where I'm folding this back. I'm gonna pin it in place so that way I can sew it down. And that's just gonna give it a really pretty finish sitting inside of the wristlet. I know, isn't that crazy, Deanie? Hi, Robin. I know. Josephine, a snake. No, so you know how like a dog sometimes like drops their head and then like rolls around in the ground? So I saw her doing that when we were on our walk, but I was focused on Cookie. So I didn't realize why she was doing it, but she did it probably like 4 or 5 times. And by the time we got back to the sidewalk out of the grass, that's when I saw it hanging from her. And I noticed that like it was dead, so it must have gotten caught in her harness. And while she was rolling around, she must have smashed it. But I had to come home. I took her to the back porch. I grabbed some tongs and I got it off of her. And then I threw the whole harness away. Hi, do you like being home? Yeah. Hey, Susan. And I absolutely am deathly afraid of snakes. So I called my husband. He couldn't get home. So I had to deal with it. Yeah, so crazy. All right, so that's what we'll look like. I'm gonna trim off the sides and then we'll add the zipper end. Anytime I cut a zipper, I like to hit it with my lighter because it will fray. Thanks, Susan. All right, let me measure where we're going to put our zipper end and then we will sew that on. Yeah, it was just like a totally freak thing to happen. And if anybody will find a snake, it is Butters. Okay. So here's where my zipper end is gonna go. What am I making? This is a wristlet for Michelle, and then we have a zip around wallet to do for her. Is your husband still in the Army? Yes. Yeah, me neither. Susan, I have to run to my volleyball game. Okay, bye. Was it alive? I don't know if it was alive when it got attached to her harness, but by the time I saw it, it was dead. Like I said, not sure. Yeah. Yeah. I was so nauseous the entire walk home. Like, I didn't know if I was going to throw up or make it. I made it. But I absolutely hate snakes. Like I said, it was an eventful week, and then Cookie got sick on Friday, so. But we're back in business. Alright, so we've got our zipper all prepped. Let's go ahead and work on the exterior. Hi, Wanda. So this is going to be the bottom, and all we're going to do is flip it up, clip those together, and sew them. I would have died. Imagine, I know, I can't, Lisa. I'm so glad it was not. Yeah, all's good now. Hi, Debs. Good evening. I'm seeing a lot of people that I haven't been seeing lately, probably because of the time. I've been coming on live like mid-morning. Bye, Lena. Thanks, Susan. Michelle, did you want a name tag like the wristlet normally has it down here, or would you rather have a charm on the zipper? All right, I'm gonna open that up and top stitch. I don't know if Michelle answered or if I missed it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and sew the zipper to the top. I'm just going to hold it in place. You can clip it. I'm just going to go nice and slow. Okay, thanks, Deanie. I know she was just getting home from work, so I don't know if maybe she got... Oh, it's okay. I was just wondering if you wanted the charm that normally goes right here on the wristlet, or would you rather, not charm, the nameplate that goes here, or would you rather have a charm on the zipper? Where did I get these little clips? Amazon has them if you search Wonder Clips. These I actually got from Wawak. They're the actual Wonder brand clips, and they last so long. But you can find them on Amazon if you just search Wonder Clips. Thanks, so girls. Charm on the zipper. Okay. Once I'm done, I'll show you the different charms that you can choose from. Unless you know which one you want. I got the small BB, I got the circular BB, and then I've got the regular BB that's not circled. But if you want to see them, I can show them to you. You see how much of a Butterbag Pro you are. I'm going to flip this over and we're going to top stitch. I'm going to line up the bottom so I know everything is nice and even. And then we'll just top stitch right underneath the zipper. That's going to keep that from bubbling up. Yes, if you don't mind. Yeah, of course, no worries. I was just kidding about the expert. I know you've been with me for a really long time. Alrighty. So that's what we're looking like so far. That's that top stitch. And then we're going to do the same thing to the back. Take the clips off. I want to get this centered, and then I'm going to clip this side on. Thanks, Gina. Who's been watching Landman? Last night's episode was crazy. Alright, we're going to add the other interior piece. So right now, we have the front and back sewn to the zipper, and then we just have one inside piece, so we're going to sew the other interior lining. It's a great show. It really is. Oh, sorry for the bouncing. I had to scroll up. And then now we're going to go ahead and top stitch this side just like we did over here. So I want to make sure that my lining is open. Flip that down. See the difference between when it's not top stitched, how it kind of bubbles up, and this is nice and flat. My bag is stuck in the worst part of town. I hope they don't steal it. Oh no, Holly. You haven't gotten it yet? Alright, now I'm going to open this up so we can sew everything together. So we're going to attach the outside to the outside and then the inside to the inside. And we're just going to clip everything together. Isn't it pretty, Josephine? It's very Christmassy. Making sure the vinyl on my sides line up. No, it's been there for 3 days. Sometimes I have to call USPS and I have to open up like a claim if it's delayed. I've had to do that like 3 times this month. So it might not hurt to do that. Let me get my zipper. Oh, that's my zipper end. Hi, Brenda. All right, so remember that wristlet strap attachment that we made earlier. We're going to go ahead and stick that in. I like to put it in where the zipper opens, right here. I'll just set that on top and add that when we get there. So we're going to sew this inside out, and we're going to leave an opening in the lining so that way we can turn it right side out. So I'm just going to leave about 4 inches open right here. It's honestly the most perfect pattern. Thanks. And when I go from the cotton lining to the vinyl, because the thickness, there's a big difference, I like to just go really slow over this hump right here where the zipper is. So there's no need to rush, just take it nice and slow. I also like to reduce my stitch length when I get to the vinyl. When will the new pattern be out? Probably mid to late January. It's the Tote, if anybody's wondering. All right, so we started sewing right here. We're gonna go ahead and stop sewing probably right there. That'll give us enough room to put my thick hand in and turn it right side out. Judy, you and everybody else. I wish I could snap my fingers and have it written. But it needs to be tested. It needs to be written. The pattern pieces needed to be made. So it's definitely a process. All right, before I turn this right side out, even though this is a pretty small bag and you're not going to be able to get much in it as far as weight, what I like to do, because all of the weight is going to be on this wristlet strap attachment because you're going to be holding it on the wrist, so all of the weight will be right here. And it's such a small piece of fabric, I like to just sew over it just to reinforce that. Do you have one sewn? Yeah. As soon as I finish making this, just remind me and I'll grab a tote and show you what it looks like. There you go. So just to reinforce that. Then I'm going to trim the excess off. Alright, we're going to reach in and turn it right side out. I like to start with the corners. So just push those through. And stick my hand in. Grab the corner, push that through. And then just push and roll. A lot of the times when you turn it right side out, the corners don't come all the way out, which is fine. I just grab my little screwdriver. Go nice and slow so we don't poke through the vinyl. Right, Nancy Bear? Just go really light. There we go. Alright, and then now we just have to close our opening, and a lot of the times if you give it a little tug, everything will line up from the seam that you sewed right here and right here. Tuck it in and give it a little tug, and then we can go ahead and sew that closed. Alright, let me grab the charms after we tuck this in. I like to push my corners in first. It's kind of thick because I lined it with that interfacing, just to give it a little bit more of body. There we go. That is the wristlet. We still have to sew our wristlet strap. All right, Michelle, let's call this A. This is B. And then call this one C. Let me know if you need me to take it out of the package. So A, B, C, which would you prefer? All right, while she's doing that, I'll go ahead and whip up this wristlet strap. C, you got it. So the wristlet strap is going to have one finished edge. The other edge is going to be what's called a raw edge. That one's going to be hidden, so we don't have to worry about that. So to create a finished edge, I have a couple of different videos on how to achieve that. That's what the end needs to look like. What type of fabric are you using? I'm a beginner. So the exterior is a vinyl or a faux leather, and then the interior is a cotton, and I interface my cotton with a woven interfacing like SF101. All right, so to get the finished edge, we have this little piece right here we're going to fold up, just like that, and then we're going to fold each side in to the center, press that into the tape. Do the same thing on this side, fold that over, press it to the center. So again, this one is going to be our raw edge because we don't have it finished. This one is finished because of the way that we folded this up. And then we're just going to fold it in half once more and sew along each side. Go nice and slow. Hey! It's not Dolores. Is it Dolores? It's not Dolores. What is it? User 15479. It's been so long since I've seen that. I think I forgot the name. All right, then we're gonna sew on the other side. Why it's getting caught. Okay, let me hit the little tiny threads with my lighter. And then we're going to poke some holes. The finished edge is the one that we're going to see. So we're going to put 2 holes in. One there, one there, and then the raw edge or the unfinished edge is going to get 1 hole. Then let me grab my hardware. So we need 1 large rivet. This is a double cap large rivet, and then a lobster clasp. On the side that has the 2 holes in it, we're going to slide our lobster clasp over. We're going to put our rivet on the bottom hole like that. And then all we have to do is bring up the other end, put that on that rivet. And then we're going to fold over the top where that hole is and attach that to the rivet. Hi, Kayla. And then we're going to add the back of the cap. And then we're just going to set it. And that is how I make my wristlet strap. We'll add the charm and she's all done. Just gonna use 2 pliers, one to hold it, one to open it. And then one to hold it, one to close. There we are. Did you want the same charm, Michelle, on your wallet? So that is all done. All right, let me set this aside and we can work on her wallet. I prepped quite a few things. Yes, okay, you got it. All right, so same thing, everything is the same. The outside, the inside. We're gonna start with the inside. So we're going to add our, I prepped these earlier today. We're gonna add our credit card slots like that. Let me grab a wallet just in case you've never seen one made. So this is what my zip around wallet looks like. And then you have your credit card slots on each side. And then because we don't sew the top of these here, you actually have a little slip pocket behind each credit card slots, and then you have a zippered pocket. So this is the wallet that we're going to be making, just in a different print. All right, so let's go ahead and get our credit card panel stitched on first. Going to just measure down, line that up, make sure it's nice and centered. Clip that in place. And then I'm going to trim down the excess from the credit card panels. And then we're going to add just some clips to hold it in place so I can sew it down. Go back and measure this just to make sure it didn't shift. Perfect. All right, so remember how I said we have a little section behind our credit card panel, so we're not going to sew down the top, we're just going to sew down the bottom, the side, the bottom, and then back up the side. That's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the little bit of extra fabric. I'm going to do it over my trash can so I don't get it everywhere, and then I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. That way, when it's done, so one looks like it's upside down, but once it's done, they'll both be right side up. sure that's centered. Add some clips. Oh shucks, you know what? I forgot to sew down the side, which is fine. I can do that. That's okay. I can do that later. All right. Why does your presser foot move when you sew? It's called a walking foot, so it's grabbing the fabric and pulling it while I sew. If you don't have a walking foot, then it won't move. Let me scooch this over just a touch. Or do you mean when it automatically goes up, but she's not pressing the lever? Double check that measurement. Oh, this, it goes up. I have a knee lift, if that's what you're talking about. A lot of machine. I have a lift right here too. So when I lift that, it goes up, but I also have a knee lift. Again, I'm just going to trim the little excess back here off. There we go. All right, so the first step was actually to sew down our sides right here. I didn't do that, but I'm going to go ahead and do it now. It's okay. Just stitch down. I'm going to do the same thing over here. What glue do I use? Fabri-Tac. For this project, I use Fabri-Tac glue. I'm going to grab it in a second because I need it for the next step. Let me grab my little side pieces. So in the wallet, the step that we're doing now is to add our little side pieces right here. That keeps your wallet from opening all the way up flat, and it also gives a place for the zipper. So we're going to glue these to this piece. So I'm going to add some glue on here. Let me just trim my little threads. You're welcome. So this is Fabri-Tac by Beacon. You can get it at any craft store, Walmart, Michael, Hobby Lobby. You can use tape if you don't have tape. I just find that this adheres to this a lot better with glue than with tape. So it's just a personal preference. It's amazing glue you can use on so many crafts. Yes. Are you still taking custom orders? Yes. I have a sign-up sheet that I'm working off of. It's available in my Facebook group. The link to the sign-up sheet. I'm going to clip this on, and I noticed that I didn't walk through that process, so let me show you what I did. I'm going to line the edge of this with the edge of the credit card, and then I'm going to tuck it under, and then we're going to flip this over and then just clip it in place. I like to just flip it over, make sure it's lined up correctly. Just add some clips, just like that. And we're gonna wind up sewing this down, so the glue is just going to hold these in place. Because we have quite a few layers, right? We have this fabric right here, we have the craft text, and then we have multiple layers with our credit card panel that this has to attach to. So it's just gonna hold everything in place until we sew it down. Happy holidays. Yes, thanks, Elle. They're doing much better than they were last week. All right, last one. And then we're gonna set this aside to dry, and while that's sitting aside, I'm going to add the zipper to the outside. There we go. So this is the inside of our wallet. Again, once it's done, it'll be sitting like this. We'll have a little zipper pocket that goes down the center. Let's go ahead and add our zipper to the exterior. What needle do you recommend for making wallets? I use a size 17. So this is the actual needle that I use in my sewing machine. Do you ever find that sewing after the glue gums up your needle? If it's not dry, sometimes yes, it will. But if it's dry, then no, I never find it gums it up. Wait, I think I missed something. What little fur babies? So I actually was supposed to do this order live on Friday, but I had to take Cookie to the ER vet. She just has a little, she's had a growth on her face for a while, and she's currently on the list to have it removed at the end of January. But it wound up busting open. I know that sounds terrible. So I had to take her to the ER. And then on Wednesday, Butters got a snake wrapped around her harness. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mark where my zipper goes, but all's good. I posted a video of Butters. It's my most recent TikTok video showing what I'm talking about. How she did it, I have no idea. Yeah, a snake. Yes, a snake. If you don't believe me, go watch the video. I was appalled. And I thought I was going to pass out. I'm just following that measurement all the way around. And this is just a guide where I'm going to put my double-sided tape, which is going to hold my zipper in place while I sew it down. I would have freaked out. Indeed I did, Janice. For some reason I thought you lived in Hawaii. I did. I moved to Northern Virginia about 6 months ago. But yeah, there's no snakes in Hawaii, which I absolutely loved. Sometimes the rolling dead stuff. Okay, so that's what she was doing. I was saying earlier that she was rolling around on it. You know how they like stand up, put their head down, and then like roll their body in the grass? That's what she was doing. Okay, so first part's going to be to just stitch right here on both sides. So hopefully it was already dead, but it's weird because of the way that it got caught in her harness. I don't know. Honestly, I don't even want to think about it. It was so gross. Because I was the one who had to remove it. Oh no. There we go. So just a couple of stitches right here. I'm going to pull my threads through so that way I can knot them off. Yeah, I know. I watched your Prime video. I didn't know. Yeah, it was the snake. All right, the reason why we're going to pull these through and knot them off, because when we start sewing our zipper on, we're going to start at the very top stitch and go all the way around, and then when we sew this side, we're going to start at the bottom of this stitch and go all the way around. So pulling them through and knotting them off, it's just going to look like one seamless stitch all the way around because we're not back stitching. I got Cookie tiptoeing around in here. This is a classic zipper-on wallet by Maggie 55. Yes. All right, let's go ahead and tape these down. Just going to use a piece of double-sided tape. I have one little tiny piece right here that won't reach. Just add another little small piece. Just submitted a custom. Okay, awesome, Kim. As soon as I get to you, I'll let you know. Okay, now I'm going to add my double-sided tape around the top and around the bottom. That's going to hold my zipper in place. Why do you tape them down? That's what the pattern tells you to do, to tape these down. I mean, you can cut them if you want. It's just, I think at this point it's just habit, but that's what the pattern suggests. But yeah, you could totally, after you knot them off, you can just trim them down. I know, Cookie, it's okay. Okay. So that's where our zipper is going to go. I'm going to go ahead and mark the center of my zipper. What kind of tape is that? It's double-sided tape. It's also called leather tape. I get mine from wawak.com. W-A-W-A-K. What would we do without double-sided tape, right? Somebody asked me that the other day, like, what did we do before double-sided tape? And thank goodness, I think by the time I started sewing, double-sided tape was like already a common thing to be used. All right. So I've got my zipper knotted or noted in the center, and what that is going to do, we're going to line up the center on this side, and then we're going to line up the center on this side based off this line in the middle. That way we know our zipper is going to come together perfectly once we're done. So I'm going to take that off, set the other piece aside. I'm going to find the center and line that up, push it into the tape, and then follow it all the way around. I like to leave a little bit of extra on my corner and then just come back in to be able to manipulate that to round it out perfectly like that. Same thing here, leave a little bit out in the corner, come back down this line, push it into the tape. Line it up. Just like that. And then now we're going to sew it down. Going to add some clips to the bottom just to keep that out of my way while I'm sewing. Give it one more press. And then I like to flip my tape, my zipper tape up like that. And then again, we're gonna start at the top of this stitch. We're gonna come all the way around and then stop at the top of this stitch. And then just go nice and slow. Sorry, my dog's acting crazy. You're okay, Cookie. And I like to just go super slow. Make sure I'm steady with my stitch line. Sorry, I had to stop and look at my dog real quick, make sure she's good. There we go. I'm gonna pull that stitch through. And then we're gonna knot that off. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. Let me do one more knot with the other side. So that's what it looks like. I started just a touch too high, so there's just a little space right there. And then we finished over here. And then when we come over here, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna try to start in the very top stitch, go all the way around, stop in this stitch right here. Let me clip this out of the way. Grab my other zipper. Alright, so again, we're going to use this line right here. Find the center line that we made. Line that up and then push it down into the tape. Leave our corner open. A little too much, which is fine. That's what I mean, it's tape. You can lift it up and reposition it. There we go. You're just tying your knots. Wish my fingers were still. I don't know, some days mine aren't that great. I think it just comes with the business. Okay, there we go. Push that into the tape, flip my corners up, and then we're going to sew that down. Again, trying to get in that very top stitch. Go nice and slow. A little bit better. So we started right in that top stitch. You can see where my thread is, and then we stopped in this stitch right here. Now we pull them out so we can knot them off. And then we're going to transition back to our lining, finish sewing that up, and then sew the lining and this outside together. And then because we use double-sided tape, tape, I'm just going to take the backing off and then take these other 2 pieces of thread, just push that back into the tape. Same thing over here. When we sew this one up, push that into the tape. And then this one right here. Again, you can nut them off. This is just habit. Okay, I want to put my zipper pull on. I want to make sure that this opens and closes. If it doesn't, this is the time where you want to catch it. I've never made the classic zip-around wallet and it intimidates me. I think I want to wristlet in my coffee design. That would be amazing. I might have one. Yeah, this is a tough pattern. This is definitely not a beginner sewing pattern, and it is challenging, but there are tons of YouTube, tons of tutorials on it. I had it flipped over the wrong way. And once you master the pattern, I did not master it the first couple times I made it, but once you master it, it's such a rewarding feeling, and it's such a great pattern. So I would encourage you, if you are interested in making this, just try and keep trying, because it's a very rewarding wallet to make. All right, so our wallet or our zipper is attached. We know everything lines up. It's not like that, so it's all lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and just open this up. I'm gonna add a little clip on the bottom so I don't accidentally just rip off my pull. And then we're going to set this aside and go back to our lining. Because remember, we only glued our sides down, and then now we have to just sew down the sides. And it takes practice, just like with everything else. The craft text is so expensive. Yeah, you're right, it is. At this point, because I make so many, they sell it in a 10-yard bolt on Amazon, and I think it's like $100 for a 10-yard bolt. But I also make the mini zip-around wallet. I actually made 2 this afternoon, so I use a lot of it. But you're right, it's expensive. Just the materials. If you're close by, I'd say come over and grab you some. What stitch length do you use for the vinyl, please? The vinyl that I just sewed was a 4. The top stitch for the wristlet, I use a 5. You can't really, I'm not sure if you're able to tell the difference. So that's a 4, that's a 5. Sorry, I didn't turn off my, let me turn off my ringer. Do you still sell fabrics? I do. I'm here with my 7-year-old and he is hooked on seeing you making this. Awesome, I love hearing that. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and sew our lining to the exterior. I'm going to add just a couple pieces of double-sided tape just to hold that in place. Make sure it's nice and centered. Okay, we're good. I'm going to press that into the tape. At this point, you can close it up, zip it up, make sure everything fits. I've been making these long enough to just look at it and be able to tell. So now, remember, we have this seamless stitch all the way around from where we started and stopped. So the goal this time is to leave that little space that we started with. We're going to start sewing. I usually go about a heavy 1/8 of an inch inside of this first stitch line. So the goal is to get a nice parallel stitch line all the way around, sewing it on. Are you enjoying this Virginia winter? Are you missing Hawaii? I'm missing Hawaii for sure. I still have the weather, my city from Hawaii in my weather app. So when I'm looking at the weather, I also just take a peek, and I don't know why I do that to myself, at what the weather is in Hawaii, and it's always beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start right here. And then again, we're just gonna go nice and slow. So no rush in sewing. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat right now. Alright, and I usually pause to see where I'm going to stop. There we go. So that is our second stitch line. Going to pull my stitches through so I can knot them off. I've never been to Hawaii, and I miss Hawaii weather. Minnesota, oh yeah, I'm sure you're cold there. Yeah, Hawaii was perfect. We live right in the center of the island, so it never really got too hot or too cold. It was like, it would honestly year round average about between 80 and 85. Now some days would be a little cooler, but I don't ever remember it getting any hotter than 85 degrees in our city. And again, that's just because we were in the center of the island, kind of up in the mountains. So it was a little bit cooler in our neck of the woods than like Honolulu or Waikiki. It would get pretty hot down there, like 90, 95. But it truly was a paradise to live in. All right, I'm just sealing and singeing those little pieces of thread, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to go ahead and sew along the top to sew this side of the interior together. Because remember, the first stitch line is where we sewed the zipper to the exterior. Pull my thread, get it lined up. Go nice and slow. I'm going to pause to find out where I stop. There we go. That's our second row of stitching. Oh, let me get this puzzle piece. Okay, good. That's our second row of stitching. We're going to pull the thread through and knot it off. What thread do you use? I use a Gutermann thread. It is Mara 70. And I get that from Wawak as well. Your machine is struggling. My foot just, I was going so slow, my foot just came off the pedal and it just stopped sewing. My sewing machine does not like to sew slow. It's a fast machine. All right. I'm gonna flip my zipper around. I'm going to just kind of roll it just to get the shape to it. And then the next step is going to be to sew our side pieces together. So I'm just going to line those up, clip them. Same thing over here. And then we're just going to go ahead and sew along the sides. And then now we're going to go ahead and add the zipper pocket that goes down the center. And it's just going to sit in here. I like to come underneath it and I like to grab it and pull it as close as possible to this edge right here. And I find by just grabbing it underneath, giving it a little bit of pull, I can get that tucked in. And then up top, I usually just tuck it in and clip the top together. And then sometimes I'll put another clip right here. And then we're going to go ahead and sew that in place. There we are. So that's what it looks like stitched in. And then we're going to do the exact same thing over here. Give it a pull, come underneath. I like to grab the pocket to kind of shimmy it all the way to the edge. Add a little clip. Do the same thing to the top. Clip that in place. And then another one right here. Then we'll sew it together. Sometimes I'll flip my zipper away just to give me extra clearance in the bottom. It gets really close to the zipper and I don't want to accidentally sew through that. I've done that before, it's not fun. Alright, now I'm going to hit, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like little tiny pieces of thread on the edge. I'm just going to hit those with my lighter just to cinch those down all the way around. It just kind of cleans up the look. There we go. So that's what we're looking like so far. That's pretty much the wallet. The last part is just getting rid of the zippers. So I'm just going to close it up, make sure everything closes, and it does. And then we'll go ahead and deal with these zipper ends. I'm going to just trim this down a little bit. Same thing over here. Hit that with the lighter just so it doesn't unravel. And then I need to grab my pliers and a charm. Alright, let's put the charm on first. Now we're going to work with the zipper end. So essentially, because we did not sew this part right here, we did not sew the inside and outside together. That's why we left the little gap right here and here. We're actually going to tuck these right in between the interior and exterior. You probably won't be able to see it, but trust me, that's what we're going to do. So I like to pull this side all the way over to give me clearance right here. And I don't want to lose my pull, so I'm just going to go nice and slow. So first what I like to do is just stick my pliers into the lining and just pull that away from the outside. Hopefully you can see that right there. And then I like to pull my zipper up, fold over my zipper, sorry, like that, grip that with my pliers, and then just tuck that in. And sometimes it takes a little shimmying. I usually do this in my lap. There we go. It just takes a little shimmying, and then I'll just pull this up. Be patient with it. Sorry, I know you can't see it very well, but it's in there now. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. This one should be a little easier to show you. So again, I like to pull my lining back, grip my zipper end, and then tuck that in. Sorry, it's just the way I have to hold this. Just slide that in like that. Like that. And it just takes a little bit of maneuvering. And again, practice. So I'm going to close it up. I'll probably have to do some adjustments. Like this piece right here is a little bit further out. There we go. There we go. So now it lines up here, it lines up here. So the last step is to grab the nozzle, put it in between these two, and just fill it full of glue, and that's going to keep it in place. Before I do that, I just want to, I'll probably do that at the very end, because once I do that, I can't open it back up. So Michelle, I just want to pull everything together. So we've got your wallet, your zip around wallet. We have your wristlet, and then I made you a little key fob. So this will all go out first thing tomorrow. You'll get a tracking number in the mail. I'll probably package it up tonight, so you'll probably get it out there tonight. Amazing work. Thanks, Martini. All right, let me go ahead and glue up your wallet. And then I know a couple people were asking about the tote, which is my newest pattern coming in January. This pattern is not available to purchase. I do have quite a few totes. I actually just added a couple of new ones to my website. So if you want to purchase a tote, you can, but the pattern will be available mid to late January. So you just put that in there. Don't touch it. Don't open it. I usually give it a few hours. I'll probably just pack this up tomorrow. That'll give everything time to dry. So I'm just sticking the nozzle way in between where my lining is and just dumping it full of glue. Just like that. Thank you guys. I can't really take credit. Michelle designed it. All right. Thank you so much for letting me make these for you, Michelle. It's so cute. I hope you love it. And then I'll grab the tote. I'll just sit this right here. me see which one is closest to me. Here we go. So this is what the tote looks like. It's kind of, well, I would say that it's kind of reminiscent of a Big B, but the handles are on the shoulder strap is attached on the side. There is a zipper closure and then a zipper pocket on the inside. But the reason why this pattern is taken so long is because there's quite a few ways to make this. So you can make it full bodied. You can make it with a top and a bottom. The sides of these are raw, they are not finished, so you can use edge coat. I used edge coat on this one. And then here's the other one that I did. I believe it's quilted. Oh, here we go. I'm also going to include the option to add a crossbody strap and make this removable. And this one is quilted. Same thing, it's got a zipper pocket on the inside. So because of all of the different options, and then actually there's another one. Oh, here we go. So the zipper panel is finished. So if you noticed, this is cotton canvas and it has a finished zipper. This one is vinyl and it also has a finished zipper. There's no raw edges on the zipper. So there's quite a few different options that I want to add to the pattern, and that just takes more writing, more pattern pieces, and more testing. So that's why it's kind of taken a little while to get the pattern out. But essentially, that is what the tote looks like. Will the pattern be coming out for that tote? Yeah, so all of the different options. This is the tote. The pattern will be available mid to late January. Do I ship internationally? Yes. All of these bags are available on my website if you'd like to purchase them. So butterbags.com. Thank you guys. Okay. What's the size? Can I show the 3 pieces I made? Yes. So it is 11 inches this way. I believe 7 inches tall. Yep. 7 inches tall and then 3 inches deep. So 3 inches, 7 inches, and then 11 inches. And then, like I said, there's going to be a couple of different options. You can either attach your shoulder strap directly to your hardware. You can make it removable. You can add the painting edge coating, or you can make it with a crossbody strap. Let me pull this out of the way. And that once I show the crossbody strap, I'll pull the 3 items that I just made out. Somebody was asking about that. So this one has a crossbody strap. So you can remove the shoulder strap and just wear it crossbody. Or you can remove the crossbody strap and just wear it over the shoulder. But that's what it looks like. And then the finished zipper. I had a lot of compliments on my leopard run. Yeah, I actually restocked that because I made 2. I made this one and then I made a second one that had a solid brown bottom, and they both sold right away. So I actually restocked this one. This one is canvas, cotton canvas. Super cute. All right, let me grab the 3 items that I just made. So key fob, I didn't make this online, I made this offline. Wristlet, and then a zip-around wallet. Thanks, Michelle. I'm so glad that you like them. So good. I want Christmas. All right, I'm going to run. I'm not sure when the next time that I will be live this week, but if you're in my Facebook group, I will put a notification in before I go live. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Bye.